Hi everybody, it's Tatiana, and today I'm coming to do a quick wrap up for the Topple Readathon. If you are not aware, the Topple Readathon took place for 2 weeks from June 5th through June 19th, and I will put my update and review from week 1. Put a little link up here if you are interested in checking that out if you haven't done so already. This will just be the wrap up for week 2. During week 2, I took my graphic novel break and I read volume 1, Remission of Profit. I actually borrowed this from my brother because I had been looking forward to reading this but having a difficult time trying to get it through the library because I wasn't quite sure if it was going to be a comic series that I was interested in, and I'm glad that I tried to get it from the library as opposed to purchasing it because it's not for me. There's a lot of weirdness that takes place that could be very enjoyable but is just out of the spectrum of the kind of weird that I like to participate in. So unfortunately this was not for me, but this is what I read for my graphic novel break in between the first book that I read and the second book that I read, which was Triangles by Ellen Hopkins. This was the first novel that I read by her, and after picking this up to actually read it, because I've owned this for maybe 2 years, I did a little bit of look into some of the reviews that were posted on Goodreads, and apparently this was her first adult novel, and the novel is written in prose format, which was nice because I haven't read anything written like this, and it was deceptively over 500 pages because the pages weren't filled because of the way that it's written. But I haven't read a book written in prose since I read A Little Piece of Sky, maybe in 2003 or 2004. So it's been quite a while, and I really enjoyed this. Under normal circumstances, a fast-paced reader could probably finish this book in a day because it's written in a way that keeps you wanting to read, and because the chapters are so short, and just the lives of the women who are looked at in this story are interesting in different ways. But I would suggest to take more than a day to read it. Just take a break, sit it down, and pick it up again the next day. I read this over the course of 4 days because during the final week of Topple, my power went out because we had a horrible storm to come through and trees fell and the like, and so I was without power for almost 3 days. So that kind of jacked up my reading for the fourth to the final night of Topple, and I didn't get any reading done the next couple of days because I had to make some changes work-wise as well as after-work-wise because it was hot, and so I didn't come back home. While I was reading this, at least when I first started it, and the day that I started, I think I read over 150 pages. While I was reading it, I was super engaged. The stories, the ladies are interesting. It follows the lives of 3 women who know each other and are friends or connected to each other in different ways. You have Andrea, Holly, and Marissa. Andrea and Marissa, is it Andrea? Why do I think I'm saying that wrong? Maybe because I was saying Andrea as I was reading it because of the way that it's spelled. Andrea and Marissa are sisters, and then Holly and Andrea are best friends. Each of them are living lives in different ways. You have 2 who are married in troubled marriages, 1 who is single, all 3 are parents, and they're all dealing with parenthood and their lifestyles, being married or single, in different ways, and those intersect, they meet, they somehow converge and meet up at different points throughout the story, hence the name Triangles. But after the first day of reading it, and I don't know if it was because I hadn't become that invested in the characters, when I picked the book back up the second day, it started with a chapter on Marissa, and I could not for the life of me remember who the hell Marissa was or what her story was. It's not that Marissa's story doesn't make an impact on you. I just didn't have a connection with the characters, and I don't know if that's because of how the book was written or what. I don't know. What I really, really liked about the story is that, or the way the book is written, is that after, or at the end of each chapter, there's a different kind of poem about guilt. It's something learned in childhood, this nibbling of conscience that begins with denial. I did not push my little brother out of the swing. No contrary evidence. You think you've gotten away with it until an emotion you don't quite understand percolates inside of you. An acidic brew that churns until you make the decision to confess those bruises on Junior's forehead are indeed because you shoved a little too hard. Choose to ignore it, and guilt will inexorably corrode, chewing flesh and soul until it bleeds you out. About guilt, it's not an emotion to ignore. And that's the way that each chapter ends, with some kind of musing that's two statements in one, where you have, if you read it word for word, the way that it's written with the words on the side filled in the places they're supposed to go, it makes its own statement, and then just the words on the side make their own statement as well. I really enjoyed that aspect of the book, along with the fact that it's written in prose. I did have a favorite character. I'm not going to say who it was. It's not the quintessential or perfect romance novel, but I think the elements that bring this together make it an enjoyable and quick-paced read. That is what I read the second week of Tome Topple. I really enjoyed this readathon. Sam did such a good job of putting this together. I think this readathon is a real good example of what can be accomplished when you really put the thought into doing something new and starting out of the gate with that thought process being put through, and not, we're going to see how this goes and then fix things the next. And I'm not knocking that process at all, because I haven't hosted a single one. It takes a lot of work to do it. So I'm not knocking that process at all. I'm just stating that this went very well. I am looking forward to the next time this happens. That's all that I have for this video today. I am recording this video on Tuesday, June 21st. Let's see how long it takes for me to get this uploaded. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a good weekend whenever you see this video. Peace out.